Alright folks, I'm back on one of these driving videos. One thing I realized in watching these back is it's a very unflattering angle, isn't it? When you have a camera sort of perched on your knee up at your visage. Yeah, it's not your best angle, is it? But I'm past that age of caring too much, and I hope it's more of a listening experience, let me put it that way. One thing I wanted to talk about today that has to do with the world of instruments and guitars and music is finding bargains, deals through some of the old channels. So before we all went online and discovered the Tomans and Rondos of the world, guitar fetishes, all-in-one guitars, we basically had, if we wanted to buy used, we basically looked at Guitar Center or pawn shops or stuff like that. And I remember years ago browsing the Guitar Center used ads sometimes yielded results. I remember getting my Godin Exit 22 through those means. I found 3 of them in different guitar centers, highlighted the one I wanted, and then had it shipped to a local guitar center to pick it up. And I think that might have been my last purchase from Guitar Center. Probably all of 10 years ago now. And every once in a while I hear people claiming they find deals going through Guitar Center used. So every once in a while I just peruse what they've got just to see, make sure I'm not missing out. And I recently did that. I recently went onto the Guitar Center used site, because that's how you do it now. And you can either set up a pickup at a local shop, where they'll have the guitar moved, shipped to a local store and you pick it up, or you can pay extra and have it shipped to you. And I have to say, after perusing the Guitar Center website, I think yesterday, I didn't find any deals at all. In fact, I found most things to be priced incredibly high, almost the new price in certain situations. So, for instance, if Guitar Center was selling a used Yamaha FG800, which is $219 online, they were asking $2 or $225 for it used. That kind of thing. One reason why you might still use them, I think, is they did have a reasonable selection of higher end guitars. If you're looking for an American-made Gibson or Fender, you can find them used through there, but you're going to pay the top end of the market, used market, for them. So even though eBay's prices have risen of late too, I still think you're more liable to find something cheaper used. Again, if you can deal with eBay infrastructure and or having to set up or repair the guitar when it arrives, because buying used from eBay has its own perils. However, I remember when I got the guitar from Guitar Center all those years ago, it wasn't set up. You might think it would be coming from a guitar shop, but it wasn't. It wasn't really any better than buying from somebody on eBay in terms of the condition of the guitar. I remember it being fairly well packed, probably better than your average eBay seller. Not me, I pack well, but some people don't. So I quickly concluded that no, I'm not really missing out. It's not really a justifiable platform for finding used deals that you want to fix and resell, or even if you want to get it at a good bargain price for yourself to fix and play. I just didn't find anything that I could consider a really good bargain, and I spent an hour looking through. So these people that claim to find these great deals, they must either look all the time and just find anomalies, maybe things that are listed low by mistake, or they're talking about years ago, because looking through recently, I would say the prices are ridiculously high for used gear. Another thing I did was to go and look at Sweetwater's used page, because since I last shopped at Sweetwater a few years ago, they have since added a used section on their website as well. I'm not sure how it works. I think they just ship it to you. And I looked through those. A lot less guitars. I'd say about 60, 70 guitars rather than hundreds. But again, really, really close to new prices. I didn't see anything that really jumped out as a bargain. You have to distinguish between used and blems and seconds on there. By the way, both sites, Guitar Center, considering how big they are, I found their search methods on their website to be very clunky. Not really smooth at all. In fact, it was very frustrating to try and look at specific brands or types of instruments. I didn't find it helpful or smooth. And similarly with Sweetwater, a lot of the listings didn't have pictures attached, and it too wasn't very impressive, the way it was laid out. And I kind of got the impression that both sites or both businesses don't really care about their used sales that much. It's just maybe it pays for itself, but it's not a massive money maker. They certainly don't invest into the infrastructure very well. I've heard nightmares about people buying used guitars from Guitar Center and it taking forever for them to ship it out. Literally weeks. So it's kind of an afterthought. And I've also perused a few guitar chat sites and Reddit pages about the experience of trading or selling to both those enterprises. A lot of complaints, people saying how when you take something into Guitar Center, the most common theory is that they look up what they're selling for on Reverb, possibly eBay as well, but definitely Reverb, and then they offer you half to 60% or 40 to 60% of that price on your used gear. So they're marking it up, a good 25-30% to sell. In some cases, even doubling their money, I bet. And they just let it sit there until it sells. It seems like they're not really pushing or investing a whole lot into that side of their business. So it's kind of an interesting thing that they even have that side of things if they're not really going to develop the infrastructure at all, because it really is clunky and not easy to use. Very unhelpful. It looks like they just haven't really upgraded that side of their website at all since I last looked, actually. And I bet the same thing with Sweetwater. If they buy or you trade used gear, they give you such a low price, a lot less than what you could sell it for on eBay or Reverb. And perhaps the people that get rid of gear that way are just either desperate, they want to do it quickly, or they don't want to be bothered with selling stuff on eBay and Reverb. But not everybody does, so I kind of understand. Although, if it were me, throwing up a Craigslist ad and trying to sell something for the best price you could get seems to be pretty painless and probably a lot easier than trying to get Guitar Center to pay you anything close to what it's worth, either in cash or trade value. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. You'd think they'd want to compete with the eBay Reverb Facebook Marketplace sites a little bit and grab some of that market, but I don't know, I get the feeling like it just chugs along as an afterthought. It's not really, the main part of their business. Other traditional selling methods, I also looked at Zounds, which is another big music retailer that has an online presence. Same thing, very high prices for used gear, almost new prices. Again, I'm not sure if you can haggle with these people. I hear that you can make offers to Guitar Center, which they may or may not accept, depending on, the person you're speaking to, and, wherever it's located in the US. I'm not sure how this works in other countries. I'm sorry that if this is a US kind of centric discussion. Those from the UK, tell me if there are equivalents over there and what your experience is trading or selling your gear or buying used gear. Guitar or Andertons or any of those places in the UK. I'd be really interested to know. So I tried Zounds, I tried Sweetwater, I tried Guitar Center for used gear. Of course, Musician's Friend is principally new gear, and they're linked, maybe even owned by Guitar Center. I'm not sure what the relationship is these days, but that used to be the case. I don't think Musician's Friend offers used gear. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And then, back in the day, I used to do quite a bit of business with Music Go Round, because I actually found that they had the best trade and buy policies probably about 15, 20 years ago now. I was doing quite a bit of business. I'd take stuff in, that I had acquired and fixed up, and got a pretty good trade return through Music Go Round. I know they have a website presence as well. But I really haven't dabbled with them for years, because similarly, their prices seem to go up as well. And they don't seem to have the reach or the amount of quality instruments that the other sites might have. Somebody let me know if you're still doing business with Music Go Round. Gosh, I used to go into a local Music Go Round all the time when I lived in another state, and I just haven't, because I don't know of any local ones in my area where I live now. I know they have an online presence, and I think I may have searched for things in the past and not had any luck, so I didn't really follow up on it. But let me know if that's an alternative, or what your experience is with Music Go Round. Another place I used to do business with back in the day, both for trades and purchases and selling, was GoDaddy Music. Do you remember them? This was a long time ago, before the internet, and they used to send out sort of catalog lists, old-fashioned style, and you just call up and haggle with them. And I remember doing quite a bit of business, and they were called GoDaddy's used gear or something like that. I think that was what they were called. It's been so long. And I haven't checked to see if they have moved their operations into the online world. I'm not sure if they're still going. I should check. I should look into that. I'd forgotten about them until talking on this video. Somebody let me know if they're still around. I think they were located in New York, and it was just a big warehouse, and they used to do, you literally get on the phone and you'd say, I've got some stuff for trade, and guy would say, what do you got, what condition it's in, and you thrash out a trade deal on the phone. You'd send your stuff and they'd send their stuff in return. Or I think you had to wait till yours arrived and they'd send you whatever you traded it for. Imagine trying to run that business without computerized inventory. That would be really mad, having all sorts of people trading all at the same time and making sure everybody gets what they want. But it was actually kind of fun. There was some sort of medieval haggling method to it that was, I don't know, I got into it for a while. And I got some good gear from them as well back in the day. I remember when I had rack mount gear, I got loads of my consoles from them. So it was really good for like effects consoles and electronics, but also guitars as well. So I'm not sure if they're still a going concern, but other than that, the ones that I've mentioned, you're reduced to going to your local either mom and pop shop if you've got one anywhere near you, and there are a few left, not many, or your local guitar center. I think Sam Ash is gone, and that's it. I don't think there's really much. Your local pawn shop, I've done a video on those. Beware if you buy from a pawn shop. Some of the worst condition guitars I've ever worked on came from pawn shops. They're almost always dried out and have issues. They don't do any maintenance. They don't care at all about because they get it. They just get them and hang them up. And sometimes the prices are ridiculous in those places. Guitars with cracks in them being sold for the same price as a new one. It's just absurd. I have found deals at those places, but only with people who are willing to haggle, take offers. So there's your local pawn shop, and then your local guitar center. And from what I'm hearing, I haven't been into a guitar center in so long now. What I'm hearing is when you go in there these days, the walls are bare. So the chances of you finding something used that you want to buy, probably not, out of the question, but certainly a lot less chance of getting those things than say 10 years ago. And they almost went bankrupt. I think they actually filed Chapter 11. I think they were bought out and somehow survived, but I'm not convinced they're going to be around forever. At some point, I think they might go the way of Sam Ash and some other big retailers that have dropped by the wayside. I used to do a lot of business with Guitar Center back in the day. I used to know quite a few of their higher ups because they were, when I was working in Wholesale, they were one of our biggest clients. We used to sell a lot to Musician's Friend and Guitar Center, and often reserved first pick because they were so powerful back in those days. But I could tell by the way things were run and their hierarchy that they might be in trouble in a few years. I just got the sense that things were very sloppy, and also that their higher up corporate types weren't really music guys. They were business guys. The music guys, the ones who knew about the guitars, were the poor sods working in the shops on cheap commission. It's always the way, isn't it? When you get high up into the management, you find less expertise and passion about whatever industry you're in. It seems, anyway. So there you go. I have completely stopped doing the buying used from physical stores in the last few years. One, because they always seem overpriced, and I can find a better deal online. But if I wasn't a guitar tech or a instrument technician, or whatever you want to call it, luthier, I wouldn't be able to buy online because I wouldn't be able to fix and set up the stuff that I buy. So I would have to find a method of buying used, locally. So I look into it every once in a while. It is nice to go somewhere physical and buy stuff and take it home. I kind of miss that sometimes. However, I just find that the options are pretty threadbare these days, and I'm not sure, if you can get the same level of deals. Do you remember that feeling when you scored, a great guitar for a great price? I'm not sure how often you get that feeling from shopping locally, or even through some of the traditional methods like Guitar Center. But you're going to tell me, aren't you? You're going to comment below after you've subscribed and hit that like button. Gosh, it's been years since I said something like that. You're going to tell me how to score and how you're doing it. And you're going to prove me wrong, that there are viable methods and you are getting all this great gear. I'm sure of it, because there's always someone in the chat who's contrary to whatever I say and ready to prove me wrong. And this time I want to be proven wrong. So have at it. All right, folks. Whatever you're doing, have a great day. Live to your full extent. And I'll see you on the next one.